There is so much to talk about with this, and there's so much wrong about it. It is just a big, big ball of wrong. It's like a black hole of wrong. It just sucks wrong into it to make it even more wrong. The opioid epidemic, as far as the Purdue and the family, Sackler family, is concerned, goes back to about 1999. And we started looking at it criminally and civilly about, I'll say, maybe less than 5 years ago. Just round it off. 15 years. 15 years. If you were born at the beginning of this, you're almost ready to drive. By the time the problem grows so big, you can't swing a cat without hitting somebody who's overdosed. And the lawmakers and the prosecutors can no longer ignore the problem, turn their back, turn a blind eye. Well, what about the 15 years before? I know that it wasn't a huge, it's like nobody knew there was a problem, and all of a sudden everybody's dropping dead all over the place. 400,000 people have died from the opioid epidemic, caused by Purdue, wrangled by the Sackler family. So here's what happens. Finally, you can't ignore it, so they go after them. We're going to go after you. You've caused all this damage, which you can't put a dollar value on, but they're going to try. And that dollar value is, once Purdue is pleaded guilty, the company itself, which is in bankruptcy, $8.3 billion, and that's contingent to the bankruptcy court, whether or not that or part of it or whatever is going to get paid. That's the company, Purdue, which no longer exists. So you're like, okay, good, we got rid of that bad guy. Purdue's gone. We don't have to worry about this problem anymore. Wrong. None of the executives, none of the people calling the shots will have any criminal charges, civil charge. They're completely absolved. So they're free to go from defunct Purdue to whatever pharmaceutical company they want and cause the same problems there, but just a different flavor, which I'm sure they will. Just the future, if we live long enough, you'll get to see it. You'll get to see them screw us over from another company. Purdue didn't go out of bankrupt. Give me a break. They just switched horses. That's all they've done. So as far as Purdue paying $8.3 billion, well, we'll see if that happens. The family that has like the controlling interests in the now defunct Purdue, they've been $225 million settlement there, I guess, or fine, whatever you want to call it, for that family. Which, that might be, they might feel that just a tiny bit, but I can trust you. That's not going to come out of their pocket. It's going to come out of somewhere else. Trust me on that. The lobbyists that Purdue and the Sackler family and all the other pharmaceutical companies that do terrible harm, they get politicians elected. They give them money so that they can be in office. And then for 15 years, we're going to go back and see who's been in office for the last 15 years. We're going to see how much money they've taken from pharmaceutical companies so that they can ignore this problem. So that it grows to such a huge extent that it's worth $8.3 billion. Now, it almost makes you wonder if we're going to let this problem go until we can get a large amount of money out of it. It's like we know it exists now, but it's only $1 million problem now. Who wants to bother with that? We'll wait until it's an $8.3 billion problem, and then we'll do something about it. It's like, who is encouraged to take care of these things 5 years in or 10 years in? No, 15 years in, when there's bodies all over the place. You've got a population of a large city of dead people, and then we're finally going to do something about it. And then we're going to take all of this money, bankrupt a company, which is just kabuki theater. The executives are scot-free. That's what I really freaking hate about this country, and the way that the leaders of an organization get off scot-free for their decisions. It wasn't Purdue that did that. Purdue's not, it's an entity, but it doesn't have a brain on its own. It takes human beings within the organization calling the decisions. And then when those are so heinous, so perversely indifferent to human life, that it sinks an entire company, and then those people are let off scot-free. It's like, what? Is anything ever going to be fair? Is it ever going to be fair? keep making it unfair and see how that lasts. Just see how that goes over. Because you're going to have more protests, you're going to have more people in the streets, you're going to have more unrest and more unhappiness. This is not the way that we should be doing things. Holy shitballs. It's my favorite expression. Broken news.